Good morning from San Jacinto Peak. Today is Friday the 3rd of April 2020, about 9 o'clock in the morning. As you can see, as always, a beautiful day up here on San Jacinto Peak. There's kind of a fresh west-northwest breeze that I'm just going to get out of into something a little more comfortable. I'm not going to talk too much about conditions up here right now for a couple of reasons. One, because they're about to change dramatically somewhere in the next couple of days, and also because, well, in theory, there shouldn't really be anyone up here other than maybe a few Idlewild area locals like myself getting their exercise. That should be about it in theory. So this video is mainly about a couple of things. First and foremost, dramatic change to the weather coming on Sunday night into Monday morning. That's the 6th of April. Major snowstorm, which is going to carry on through at least until Tuesday the 7th. That looks like that's going to be the main focus for about 24 hours in that period. Possibility of some lesser precipitation in the days after that for basically the rest of that week, but that's unclear right now. So on Monday, projections currently in the order of about 12 to 18 inches of snow up here for the San Jacinto High Country. Snow levels predicted to be around 6,000 feet. There'll be quite a lot of rain below 7,000 feet, at least initially, and then snow level might drop, like I say, a little bit to somewhere around 6,000, maybe 5,500. That will include a lot of the Desert Divide section south of here. So that includes, for example, Spitler Peak, Apache Peak, and that whole section. That is going to make the Apache Peak area significantly more complicated than it already is. Obviously going to make the high country much more complicated than it already is. So there's that issue. And then a connected second topic, which is regarding PCTers. I'm not going to get into the issue of whether PCTers should be on the trail. I've tried to come up with a sort of fairly nuanced middle ground that it recognizes the complexities of lots of different categories of hikers, depending on where they're from, how far they are from home, what age group they're in, whether they're from abroad, when they started on the trail. All these factors play into the complexities of whether folks should be leaving the trail or not. In holding that middle ground, I am trying to sort of argue eloquently on that. I've managed to take flack from people at one end of the spectrum who've said I've said everyone can stay on the trail. I've never said anything of the sort. And at the other end of the spectrum, people have said I've told everyone to get off the trail, and I also haven't said that. So I'm just not even going to really get into that whole argument at this point. What I would like to say to PCT hikers, if they are remaining on the trail, not only given the current conditions, which, given what has happened in the last week or so, particularly around the Apache Peak area, the multiple rescues, multiple incidents, but then obviously with the weather that's coming, is please, I'm really urging PCT hikers to have some very conservative decision making. Conditions are going to get much harder. They're not easy now. They're going to get a lot harder over the next, with the nature of this, the size of this storm, going to be for the rest of April. Even if we get a very dramatic warm up, conditions are going to be challenging for all of April. In fact, if we do get a dramatic warm-up, that could actually make conditions more challenging, because we're going to get a lot of freeze-thaw cycles, we're going to get a lot of ice, we're going to get a lot of tricky snow conditions. And by conservative decision-making, one example, obviously the sort of Spitler Peak, Apache Peak area. I've heard folks say that they've sent their winter gear onto Idlewild, that they didn't think it would be needed until Idlewild. I don't know where they're doing their research, but they're not doing it well enough, because the Apache Peak area was very challenging this time last year. I was reported from there for at least 4 weeks in a row. If you've done that, sent your spikes, ice axe, whatever, up to Idlewild, then get off at 74, come into Idlewild, pick that stuff up, and then go back around, because you're going to need it. For the foreseeable future, I would say for probably all of the month of April, at the very least, micro spikes are going to be needed to get through the Apache Peak area. But conservative decision making would mean maybe you get off before then. Either get off at 74, or you can get off at Spitler Peak, the Spitler Peak Trail at about 168.5 and come around that way. And that avoids that whole section. And then another good example of conservative decision making is, please do not come into the San Jacinto high country right now, by which I mean above 9,000 feet. So just stay on the PCT. Do not come up to San Jacinto Peak. Do not take any other side routes off going above 9,000 feet. The PCT in the San Jacintos tops out at Annie's Junction at 9,100 feet. That is plenty high enough in these conditions and the conditions that are coming. And the reason for that is it's going to take, if something happens, it's going to take resources a lot more time to get to you. For example, the tram coming up from Palm Springs has been shut since mid-March. That means the state park search and rescue team basically is not going to be able to get up to you. Other search and rescue resources, professional medics like Cal Fire, they would use that. They cannot use that. That's not there right now. We've had very mixed weather for the last month or more. That makes flying helicopters difficult. That means that getting people into the high country is going to take a long time. In all likelihood, resources may not get to you in time, frankly. By staying on the PCT, by staying at lower elevations, or deciding just not to deal with some of the snow situations, that makes life a lot easier for everybody, makes it a lot safer for you. And frankly, those resources are needed in other ways right now. Those professional medics, helicopters, sheriff's department, those kind of resources, that they've just got a lot more important things to deal with right now, and hikers can help them by making some conservative decisions. Please, at the very least, stick to the PCT. Don't go higher than the PCT, and think about avoiding the Apache Peak area, for example, and maybe also Fuller Ridge, going around on the Black Mountain alternate. That helps everyone right now if you are staying on the trail. And thanks for your time and for giving that some thought, and safe hiking, everyone.